Hey guys, I'm Tim.
I'm Bob.
I'm Mike.
I'm Dan.
And this is the Board Game Rundown, and today we're going to do a preview of Table Golf Association, the Meeple Beach Edition. So, some of you may already know, there is a Table Golf Association board game out there already. Tiles and fun little discs and all that kind of stuff, flicking. And it's one of the few golf games, I've only ever seen like one other one, and it was by a small independent person, where like it actually represents golf in a true form. And these guys have taken it to the next level because, I mean, they literally have an association. There's a whole thing in the rule book about you can sign up, you can register, there's merch, all kinds of stuff. So they were looking for content on the Meeple Beach edition. I have family very close to Myrtle Beach. So, and also, we all kind of like some dexterity games, I think. And I know Dan surprised us all when we found out he likes golf.
I mean, you know, I've been messing around with it lately. Yeah, I like playing it. I'm not good.
Hey, that's that's most people that play golf.
Yeah,
Been
yeah.
playing it for a long time. Still terrible.
Yeah. I'm more of a driving range guy.
Sure,
you know?
sure. But they were looking for content creators, and I said, hey, check us out. So they did send us this prototype, or, you know, early edition. I believe that a lot of this stuff is close to what it's going to look like on the edition you get. This is sort of the deluxeified. So there's some wooden tiles and things like that. But essentially, like in this game, what we're doing is you're going to build a course. You're going to build a hole, like you're going to go a hole, and you're going to play through a series of them. And by essentially, you're making a course because you're like, okay. And it's really wild because they incorporate like all of these crazy rules that make total sense. So if you end up in the sand, you know, you might have to go with your middle finger off your non-dominant hand, or is it the sand your pinky? And then the rough is the
That's
other
your
one.
pinky non-dominant.
Yeah, it's like, oh my God, how do I do this? And there's a max distance that you can
The
fly.
ball can travel, yeah.
You know, and it's even worse if you're out of a hazard. And they've just done a really good job of developing all these rules where you have, you know, water hazards, and there's a cliff in the middle of that water hazard. We don't ask questions. We're just here to play. They've got these.
Those trees are awesome.
They got these trees that can block where you're at. There's wind, so you roll a die. You see how much wind you have. You move. You're gonna move depending on how windy it is. Ball lengths, not tiles. Mr. Captain Insano over here.
Oopsie. I thought that seemed really hard.
Yeah. And they do also have these little golf clubs for people that might have like issues using their fingers or
Flicking.
for any reason that they can't. You know, you do have this as an option. And I mean, they leave it up to you really, like how many holes you want to play and things like that. They do give you some family rules that you can incorporate to maybe make it a little bit easier. And really, a game like this is just kind of up to your group. Like I definitely foresee there being like tournaments.
Absolutely.
And you know, like some rules hawks on here. Like no.
We just had a 4-hole tournament. I won. I'm the champion.
Well,
so.
just calm down.
There's an investigation has been launched to make sure that there was no foul play.
I peed clean before this.
There's the allegations of steroid use have been thrown around.
I don't know. That trophy looks pretty bright yellow.
It was the testing agency.
But I mean, like basically that's what this game is. You start at the tee, and you build your hole out, and then you determine. Everybody sort of agrees on what the par is, and then
That sounds a lot like golf.
Flick your ball into the
really
water.
good
like
representation.
It
of
is
golf.
very good.
Is that not the hole?
No.
Oh yeah,
it's
you got it in a hole.
It's the hole between the cliff and the water. Yes.
But why don't we just go around a little bit and sort of share our thoughts on this, and we'll start with Mike.
Yeah, it's interesting because I've played a few dexterity games, and you're either trying to just like flick it as hard as you can to knock people out of the way. Of course, Crokinole is excellent, and that's probably the first flicking game everybody's going to think of. But I do like the thematic reasoning behind the tiles, like you mentioned. Like if you're in the rough, it's harder to shoot. If you end up on this hill, it's going to roll your ball down to the bottom of the hill. And the penalties for going off of the course and making the course is actually a lot of fun. And then it was definitely interesting when somebody would end up. So we put these on here just for how they look, but you don't actually start with those out. And then if your ball actually lands underneath this tree kind of diagram here. Then you put the tree in there in a way that it actually does get in the way of your flick, which trees always find a way to get in the way of your shots,
Yes.
especially if you're terrible at golf like I am. So I just appreciate the thematic tie-ins to the different terrain on the tiles.
And if you knock over a tree, your ball's knocked down, and you have to spin the spinner, and basically you move the ball that direction away from the tree.
It, like,
and
bounced off the
yeah,
tree.
yeah.
Because it's always going to bounce right back at
And
you.
if you are, if you land adjacent to a tile, you also put a tree with a tree.
sure.
You put the tree out because it could
cause
come
the
into
risk.
play,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, and these roll really well. The biggest
Too
problem
well.
we
Yeah.
all
Not
faced
actually.
at first was these are going a little too far. Like I barely touched that, and that's off the course. So
They
you
roll.
really gotta
Finesse.
have a finesse shot for this, which I say is the best way to play crokinole as well.
And that also could be slightly different with them rolling on cardboard versus wood.
Right.
So
Yes.
we're talking about the smooth wood version right now. It won't be that drastically different, but you'll have a slightly different friction level going on there.
True, and they did say the two versions are not compatible only because the tile thickness
The
is
height is
different. These are
different,
very thick, nice wood tiles. So.
Yep. Yeah, I was really impressed with the production value of this. Also, right
Yeah.
off the bat. Dan, how'd you feel about Table Golf Association?
Well, as the resident Table Golf Association expert, I am wearing a polo, so you know that I am a professional golfer. The Crokinole was the second game I thought of, Mike.
Oh.
The first game I thought of, a lot of people might not, it won't be as famous as Crokinole, is what I'm saying. But Inertia I thought of very early, because Inertia, it's like a chess-like game, but you build the course, and then it's a dexterity thing with the sliding pieces. And I was like, oh, cool, it's like a gigantic golf-themed version kind of thing. Listen, it's fun. It's golf, it's dexterity. If you like those two things, you combine them in this, and it's just dumb fun. You whenever you get a game like this going, you get a bunch of friends walking around a table, laughing at each other's terrible shots. Every once in a while, you get that one friend who goes, "Oh no!" and everyone goes, "Ah, you idiot!"
You gotta cut 'em
that's
off.
it's the cut him off. You've had him too many, but that kind of stuff will just always happen in these
Just like real
games. It's
golf.
always exactly.
Cut him off.
It's always a good time if you like games like this. Like, listen, if you're like, I don't like golf and I don't like dexterity.
Why are you
Why?
here?
What are you doing? But yeah, if you like those things, it's just a fun game. I'm looking forward to other things they could add to. I really like something that Bob did, where we were designing our own courses for each player's first turn, right? And I'm like trying to give it a weird shape when I do it and have some obstacle stuff, and then Bob makes the most pretty, all the art lined up, and it was just like he was so proud of himself that he made such a pretty course. So I like the different options here of trying something that I really liked is having all the hills kind of pointing towards water and stuff like that. So it's dangerous to land on these hills. They're all pointing towards the hazards and stuff. I really like it, or just off the board. I really like it. The hills are probably my favorite tile just because you can really manipulate where people are going to land with that, right? To where like water, you'll take the penalty and put it off all the water just like anything else. But having the hills kind of control where the ball's going, that was my favorite part, was messing around with the hills. We also, I don't know if we said it, but we definitely showed it off. These are all double-sided.
And there's a lot of them.
So yeah, I recommend using as many tiles per hole as possible and just making a cool shaped thing. I don't like when it's just a perfectly straight shot with some obstacles in the way, right? Make us have to like curve around these hills or something like that. That's what I like, and it makes the par more interesting too than a par 2 or something. You get this. Well, we have to do a par 7 because you guys got to go around this giant bend.
God, a par 7?
So
Jeez.
yeah, well, with how we were playing, that would be a normal.
Yeah, so
Actually,
break
yes.
even on a hole.
I now endorse this par 7.
Tim's like, wow, I can get my first par.
It's one par per tile.
The the wind is a perfectly implemented system where you hit it and then you just slide it that direction. Now I will say the rules are slightly different depending on if you have sunny, weak wind, or I don't know if they call
Gale
it strong
force.
wind, gale force. So the rules are slightly different there, but yeah, they implemented the wind in a good way. All the different things like Tim said, where the sand has you hit with your thumb versus the wheat grass has you hit with your pinky. Like that's all well done and different feeling and everything. And again, you want to be walking around the table, looking at your shot, and then hitting the most embarrassing thing you've ever hit in your life. Like that's what you want from a game like this, and that's what I was getting.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Super fun. Bobby.
Yeah, Dan covered some of the stuff I was going to talk about. The wind thing I think is super neat because that's a factor that a lot of games, like dexterity games, that don't have in there. And that, manipulating your shot because, yeah, you're going to hit the ball and you know what? It's not going to land exactly where you think it is because there's wind. So you got to try to account for that. So I did enjoy that. These things do move. My goodness, you flick them and they just want to go. So you got to be real careful and just use that right amount of touch to get it to move the amount you want it to move. It reminded me of that Crossfire game back in the day.
Yeah.
With those little plastic...
What you do is to get everybody warmed up is you make a driving range and everybody can flick a little,
flick, or a putt, and then just set all the trees up and try to putt through the trees.
Get through them.
Yeah, but no, it was enjoyable. I had a good time playing, flicking those things around, keeping track, showing Tim how to keep track.
Thank you.
Of
I needed that.
Yeah, he didn't know what he was doing.
Nope. I'm like, these are fractions.
I do see the logo, and I think Tim looks at it. I get to punch him twice.
And I did look at it.
But other than that, I had a good time with it. Yeah, making all the art line up.
The one thing that I wanted to say was anti-thematic about the game, but then Tim proved me wrong, is in real golf, the putting is like the hardest part for most people. And the driving is just like, hit it as hard as I can. And then when I get close, like, how do I get it in? And in this game, it almost feels like the opposite, right? You're trying to line up all these drives and then you get a gimme shot because it's on a tile. But man, Tim, every time
you watch me and it's like, uh-oh.
Yeah. Every time Tim got here, it was just one of those like, it was like, okay, no,
Have you guys ever seen me go right around the hex, like perfectly?
So I've hit all the sides, so now I can
go
in. Yeah.
Listen, I like the movie Hoosiers. You want to pass the ball to every player before you shoot.
No.
This is a really amazingly good implementation of like actual golf, right? I feel like it represents the frustrating part of the sport, like, how did I do that, but also
my club.
I was literally gonna say that.
But in a fun way, right?
Yeah.
In a competitive way. And again, like golf, real golf, you're out on a course, you're goofing around with your friends, you're giving them a hard time for their terrible shots, then you make your terrible shots. And it's really fun. Like Dan said, you have these options on how you build the course. You could just make some monstrosity, or you could try to design something like very, nice looking. They do provide you with some options in the book, at least
for holes.
In the version we have right now, there's a couple of hole examples. If you want to kind of pre-build though, use those pre-builds, and then you can see where you want to get creative with it. And so many options because there's a ton of tiles and they're double-sided in this version, and it's just gives you lots of variety and everything. And I really want to make one that's almost like a U. That we have to go around. That would be really fun to try. But like,
let's flick it really hard and jump over the...
Yeah, we were trying to figure out if we could get it to like
spin.
hook. There's nothing that I have done that I've seen that will allow that to happen. Not with a flick.
Like you might be able to do one of those numbers,
but you're not allowed to throw it, right?
Yeah.
Illegal move there. But they've done a really nice job. They've clearly put a lot of thought into these rules and like how things need to be done. And like, I see that they've really done this in a way with like an eye on actually having organized play, with the rules and the clarity and things like this lend themselves to tournaments very easily. I mean, same thing with like Crokinole.
Right.
You got any big convention, there's Crokinole tournament. Even medium to small conventions, there's Crokinole tournaments. And the fact that they have a total, like an association that you get online and you can register with and all that stuff. I mean, you can create events and share your scores.
Yeah.
I mean, just really cool. I like the sky's kind of the limit, and there's I could see all kinds of tile sets, that they could come out with to try to represent different
areas,
courses in different parts of the world, right?
I'd like to see like the moon, all moon-themed tiles with craters and
No gravity.
That American flag is in my way. I have to hit past that.
Yeah.
No gravity, exactly. See, on the moon one, instead of like 7 tiles max, it would be like you have to get like 6 tiles minimum. all right,
Minimum.
to make up for that moon.
The
gravity.
drift in the moon wind is notorious.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, I think if you like flicking games and you've played all the ones that are out there, I think this still is bringing something new to the table because of the different ways the obstacles are laid out and the way this forces your ball to move even after it's stopped moving. And even if you don't like flicking games, if you just like golf or you're looking for a beer and pretzels game, this is just the perfect shooting the crap with my buddies and just flicking and just seeing what happens kind of game too.
And talk about table presence, right? If you're at a con or a meetup or something and you got this bad boy on the table, people are stopping. What is going on over here, And yeah, it's cool because you don't have to like golf or understand golf to have a good time playing this.
It does help to keep score.
It helps to keep score. It helps to keep score. But I mean, it kind of just adds an extra layer of appeal, right, to it because not like I like golf. I don't watch golf, but I enjoy playing golf.
Right.
So I know enough to appreciate all the rules and the nuances that they put in. But like I could play this probably with my kids. You know what I mean? And
I believe watching golf is referred to as taking a nap.
yeah. Agreed. Agreed.
I would much rather watch golf than football.
I sleep to both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would much rather take a nap than watch golf.
Yeah. Well, one leads to the other.
It does. It does. But do you guys have anything else you want to add or any other points we should hit on?
No, links will be in the description to take it anywhere that we feel is justified to take you.
Oh, that's a dangerous statement. Oh, boy. How about this? We'll just provide some links to their association and some things like that. But yeah, let us know what you think. Are you a golfer? Do you like flicking games, dexterity games? If you are a golfer, what's your favorite golf course? How's that? Is that a good one? Mike, you gone golfing anywhere? You've traveled.
I really haven't gone to any famous golf courses.
Sure.
Though. I've been to some good ones, but none that are like the pro courses that are public or anything.
So you're not like just like Augusta,
Yeah,
chilling at
you go to
Augusta.
That's one I'm thinking of.
You know.
No, I would love to. Like probably Pebble Beach. Pebble Beach is just gorgeous.
Right on. You got any? You go golfing?
No, they
Portugal?
don't let me on the golf course anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. It's that whole like pants required thing.
Yeah. Oops.
Dan,
Not yet.
not yet.
Not yet.
Me neither. I mean, locally, I've been
Right.
there.
I have putt-putt at some fantastic places, though.
Oh,
Yeah,
mini golf.
Yeah.
Mini golf. Let's talk, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, no. As far as golf courses go, I've been locally to a bunch. Anything I can
much.
drive to within an hour or two.
I putt-putt at an alligator farm and a tarantula ranch.
On purpose?
On purpose.
Or did you hit it out of the
No,
putt-putt
no, it
place
was actually-
into the alligator?
Wow.
It broke the tarantula cages.
Yeah.
And then,
And then it became a tarantula ranch.
Yeah, that's right.
Thanks. Right on, guys. Well, thank you so much for watching. Let us know what you think. And for the Board Game Rundown, I've been Tim.
Bob.
I'm still the champ.
I'm Dan, and should we have whispered this whole episode?
Oh, yes. Good call, Dan.
Tim steps up to the par 3.
And you can say the title's only 3 words.